Hello and welcome to another episode of the Photography Pubcast. It's season 3, episode 14, I think. Is it 14?
I've lost count.
No idea.
Well, we'll say that. I might be wrong. It could be 13, but I'm pretty sure it's 14. There's 5 of us here this week. We've got no Dave. He's don't worry, he's okay. He's just can't make it this week, unfortunately. He's got something to attend to. So, but he'll be back next week. Anyway, how are you guys? You all good?
Yeah. Good.
Good. Yeah. Anybody any walking wounded or anybody want to report any issues? Daz?
Yeah, I think Helen listened to the podcast last week when I was telling about the shower exploding and the plant pot in the bath, so she gave me a right hook to make up for it. No, yeah, a little accident at work, that was all. My own stupid fault, and it wasn't nothing even to do with work, it was just at work. I parked the van in a very awkward position next to a tiny little flower bed, little raised flower bed, about 8 inches high, this flower bed. And as I kind of squeezed round to get into the van, I opened up the van door, went to get in, and I stumbled over this little flower bed and then just went head first straight into the corner of the door. So I was seeing stars for a little while, and then I kept rubbing it, and then once I saw blood, because me and Helen are working together, and I kind of went round to see Helen and I went, "Does that look all right to you?" And her face just kind of drained a little bit, and she went, oh, hang on, let's get back to the van and clean that up. So, yeah. But the thing is, I didn't have these little butterfly stitches things. All I had was a great big plaster. So it almost looked like I had an eye patch on, because it kind of came down here and I could see this little flappy bit here. So, yeah, it wasn't very attractive. Well, it isn't now, but it was even less attractive yesterday.
Just say you got it in a fight.
But there you go, mate. Yeah, I should have done, shouldn't I?
Yeah. What about everyone else? Everyone else had a good week?
Yeah, not bad.
Uneventful, really. Yeah.
Uneventful, yeah.
I'll go then, because I've had a rubbish week.
I had a great week, and I'll come back to that. Go on, Gal.
No, let's hear about your good week first. It's got to be better than my rubbish week.
Well, I went out to Derbyshire last Saturday with my friends. There was me, Dave, Gary and Jamie, and the 4 of us. No, actually Dave couldn't make it, could he? No, sorry, so the 3, no, actually Gary couldn't, and Jamie. So actually I went on my own to Derbyshire last weekend, because you two blew me out, and I didn't even realise. I got to the car park because Gary dropped a pin, and I got to the car park and I'm faffing around paying. I download the app and go through all this stupid stuff, and then I paid, and it was about 8:10 at this time. I thought, well, I better just, now I've paid, I better make sure I'm in the right bloody car park. So I rang Gary, and he went, "Oh mate, didn't you get my message? I can't make it today." Followed by Jamie's message, "All right, well, if Daz is photographing dippers and Gary's not going to be there, I'm going back to bed." So there I was, all on my own, but I had a great day.
Get some good shots.
Good.
Brilliant. And I've got a video coming out. In fact, by the time the Pubcast comes out, my video will be out. So if anybody is watching, just click off the Pubcast now and then go and watch my video.
Yeah, after you've watched my London one, because I've got like about 4 views on it. So
I watched it.
I watched it.
It was
good.
Yeah. Sorry, 5 views. Because I watched it twice.
I must admit, sorry, just going back to what Darren was saying about the tech scenario. I set the alarm 5:15 in the morning. It was all geared up to go, all ready to go, as we planned to do. And of course, then the alarm went off, went into the bathroom, cleaned my teeth, and I noticed that there was a message from Gary, and I read it. I thought, oh, now what do I do? Do I come or not? And I'd already looked at the forecast, and it was looking pretty rubbish, to be fair. And I thought, Gary and Darren had set this place, or described this place as not very attractive for landscape photography perspective. It was more for wildlife. And I looked back at my bed and I thought, now I'm going back in there. So I dived back under the covers. It wasn't a hard decision, if I'm completely honest.
I really wanted to go. I will say that, but I got up and Beth was still up and she was really not very well. And she's like, "No, go, just please go. It'll be fine." And I'm like, "Well, I can't because I'm the only one who's, I'm the only one who's driving. I'd take the car. So if anything had have happened, she'd have been without a car." And so I just went. As it was, she went to bed about, I don't know, 7 o'clock and then slept all day. So I could have just come anyway, but you can't take that risk. And I knew Jamie was just looking for any old excuse. So I thought, I'll do him a favour at the same time.
Yeah, thanks,
But
mate.
I tell you what, it was a bit of a disaster at the end of the day because I still don't quite know what happened. But I think I don't know. I'm always paranoid about a car locking when I'm not in it, and I put the window down on the driver's side when I went and I let it run let the car run because I was bloody freezing, and I was going to get back in the car and wait for you, and I left the window open, went to pay, like I say, for the app, and then I came back and then rang you, and you said I can't make it, so I thought, I might as well just get going then. So I loaded everything up, all my back and all my rucksack and cameras and all this paraphernalia. I thought I'd lock the car, and obviously didn't. And when I came back, I had a completely flat battery, and the windows were all open. So I ended up sitting in the car park for 3 hours waiting for the RAC with the windows down, and I was shivering. I had hand warmers tucked in me shoes because I couldn't feel my feet in the end. And in the end, when I rang the RAC back and I said, "Mate, I've been over 2 hours now." I said, "You've got to get to me." I almost played the elderly card, but I said, I can't feel my hands and feet anymore. So they literally kind of said, "Oh well, we'll get a wiggle on," and I think they got there in about 2.5 hours.
Oh dear! If you were cold, mate, you should have just done that hill up and down 3 times.
Mate, I remember you saying to me, "Oh, when we go there, will you drive to the bottom and pick me up?"
Yeah.
I thought, that hill can't be that steep.
Yeah.
Mate, I stopped 3 times coming up that hill.
I told you, Laff Kildale, if anyone's been to Laff Kildale, coming back up to, it's over Haddon, the place where you park, that hill is it's worse
Serious.
than doing the bastard in Scotland.
Yeah.
Honestly, oh my God, it's an absolute nightmare,
Yeah.
that hill. There's a disabled parking spot down the bottom.
I saw that.
Do you know, I am like, because Beth's got a blue badge, but if I'm out on my own, I will never use it. I will even my daughter will go, "Oh God, can we just put?" No, I'm not using it. I'm not taking up the space of another disabled. I would there. I think I would. I think I would there.
I'd get out that car, walk with a limp. Yeah.
Change my name to Elizabeth.
That was a bastard. I tell you, getting up that hill.
Told you it was a dodgy hill. That. Okay, so I'm glad you got some good photos. Look forward to the video anyway. And I'm not good news about the car. I'm not going to bang on about my week too much because I don't want to bring everybody down. But my main issue was with my phone. So I don't know if you know. I asked the other week about should I change my iPhone to a Sony, and I had no responses about that. So I just went and did it anyway. And so I got it, and basically I had to pay off my iPhone contract, which was about 350 quid, 400 quid. But the money you get back from the iPhone covers that. So it was basically just a thing. So I borrowed the money off my daughter, who's at university. She's rich. So all these loans they're getting. So I did that and got my phone and that one, and transferred everything over because it's now on Android, which is a whole new world. And then basically powered down my iPhone, turned it off, packed it away, sent it off to them. They then come back to me with a revised offer of £68. I'm like, what? Well, they can't switch it on. Right, well, why can't you switch it on? Because when I switched it off, it was perfectly fine. It's like a perfect phone. There's nothing wrong with it. Just I wanted a Sony instead. Anyway, so I phoned them up and said, look, sometimes the battery gets really cold in transit, so we'll retest it for you. So we'll let you know by 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock came, nothing. So the next day I phoned up, got talking to this guy. He's sort of like, the guy who used to do, is it Alan somebody who used to do the balls on the National Lottery? You know, like, hello, I am so and so.
Oh, yeah,
Before
I don't know his name, but I know
Alan Dedicott or something, and it sounded like he should be like doing the balls on the National Lottery. I almost said to him, "You have got a voice for like, something else other than this job, mate." I'm like, do something else, like be a DFS salesman or something on the telly, you know. Anyway, I said to him, I haven't heard anything. He's like, okay, we'll get back to you. You know, give me a second, I'll let you know. He said, oh no, I'm really sorry. Unfortunately, I've tried it again, and it's not working. So I'm like, well, okay, well, send it back to me. We'll have to talk about insurance because, you know, obviously something's happened between me and you. Section 8.2 clearly states that we have no liability for any problems with the phone. I said, well, you might not, but the Royal Mail will. Oh yeah, we can pass it on to them, but they'll only insure it for £100. Like, so you've given me a prepaid thing to send off, and knowing that it's only insured for £100. I'm like, surely most of the phones you're getting are worth 500 quid. Oh no, he says most of the phones are tucked away in a drawer somewhere that people send in, aren't worth anything like that. I said, all right. I said, well, that's funny because most of the people I know, when their contract runs out, they send their new phone, their old phone, to O2 Recycle. He said, well, that's very good then, isn't it? That's very pleasing to hear. And I'm like, are you taking the piss, mate? At that point, and I just sort of, at that point, I went, no, hold it together. And he just went, really? That's your response? He went, yeah. I said, I'll tell you what, just send me the phone back. He went, with pleasure, sir. He said it'll be 3 to 5 business days. And I went, all right, thanks very much, bye. As I put the phone, I was like, you condescending bastard. And anyway, so now I've got to try and wait for the phone to come back and see if it's going to work. But in the meantime, sorry to be going on, I found some other interesting information about this Sony, thinking, oh, it's a brilliant phone. Now, the camera on it and video is great, yeah? But if I use it with my DJI, so you install the DJI Fly app, this phone isn't on their list of phones that are covered by that app. So you can put it on, but if
I got caught out with this years ago. I got caught out with this. I had a Google Pixel, and I went through 3 drones from Wex, and none of them worked on the Pixel. And it wasn't like back then they didn't have like a list of phones that were excluded. They just said this works on Android, but wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, it by all accounts, I've installed the app and I've turned it on and turned the drone on, and it connects and it moves. I haven't flown it yet. It moves everything around. But I'm thinking, if my drone flies off and I say to DJI, because I've got the refresh thing on there, the DJI cover, oh, it's flown off, and they'll go send in the log files, and they go, what phone we use? No, it's a Sony. Well, I'm sorry, it's incompatible. Bye-bye. So that's one thing that's really annoying. The other thing, when I bought the Sony, I thought, oh, I'll be able to use it as a monitor, because you can use it as a monitor for Sony Alpha cameras. Won't have to worry about an expensive monitor. When I'm out doing any video with my camera, it doesn't work on the A7R3. It's only the A7R4 onwards. So happy days. Anyway, so that's been my week, really.
I'll tell you what,
investment,
you might want to cut that bit out, Gal. That was suicidal. No, I'm serious. I was thinking, Jesus, if anyone's at home just feeling a bit depressed at the moment, they could be swinging from the curtain pole.
Well, that should make them happier, though, because they'll know that they're, however bad their week's been, oh, wife left me, it's all right, Gary's got shit Sony. It should make them feel a bit better. Oh, Gary's
you know
iPhone
what? Yeah, you might not be finished because they always say it comes in 3s, doesn't it? And that's what that's two of them. So.
Well,
you just made it worse.
Thanks for that.
I know that I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy, and I know it's got nothing to do with the Pubcast really, but like we were talking a few episodes ago about me thinking, oh, shall I get a new computer or a monitor? I looked at a new laptop on Apple, and it said you can trade in your old machine. So I put my 27-inch Mac on there as a trade-in, 160 quid they offered me for it. And then I've done it with my laptop, which was like about a £2,500 machine, and they offered me £245.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think I'll be upgrading anytime soon.
I love Apple, and I'd rather have an Apple than this, as a phone, but the camera on it is so good. It's really good for videoing. You know, every lens on it shoots at 120 frames per second. It's got really good. It's got the Sony Alpha sort of menu system and everything for controlling it. So it's brilliant for that. It's just there's a few little issues with it. Anyway,
can you make phone calls on it though? Can you actually make phone calls and talk to people on it?
Normally, yeah. In the car today, no. Oh, no, in the car, no. Android CarPlay plays music brilliantly. Someone phones like, hello. They hang up. They ring back, hello, and you're like, oh my god.
Do you know, whenever I come to a crossroads in my life, and I think, which route would I go down? And I think, what would Gary do?
And then you go the other way.
And then I go the opposite way, and that's it. So yeah.
Can't argue with that. Anyway, anyone else had anything exciting this week? I know we've, Stu, Jamie,
nothing compared to that.
Oh, not really. No.
Nothing of it.
No. I had a failed trip to try and photograph dippers, but there weren't any dippers. So
should have gone where Daz went.
Should have come with me, mate.
yeah.
Well, I know.
Friend.
No one else is really interested, but were they where I said they were? Were they by the waterfall?
Yes.
The dippers. Yeah.
Yeah. And further
Brilliant.
down.
Oh, excellent.
We have to watch the video to find out.
Well, I might do. Oh, beeping. We had a comment last week from Pete Weidman saying, where's all the beeping coming from? Well, it's coming from me, Pete. It's coming from my kitchen, where they seem to have put every appliance on to make it beep, just to wind me up. So, yes, it's me. I can only say sorry. Talking about comments, we had a few this week saying, like, they'd missed us the week before, and I think we really should, like, when we're not going to be on, put a little message out on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, because people were, we had, I think it was Pete, was it? Who put an incredibly...
That's my fault. I normally do update the Facebook page, so I'll accept responsibility for not letting everybody know on that one.
Pete wrote a novel, Pete Weidman, about it. He's like, he explained everything that he'd done because he was panicked. Someone else said they didn't miss us the week before last because they just put a screenshot up and watched that for an hour. So probably got about as much out of it in terms of entertainment. So
actually, can I do that during the recording?
Go for it. We had lots of people talking about their favourite or their happy songs, which we will come to. Jamie? And I'm actually looking forward to it. Oh dear. Daz, while you popped off just before we started recording, I said to Jamie we were going to do a little guess the year quiz, and it didn't go down well.
No, I'm sure it didn't.
No, he didn't enjoy that. And so basically we had lots of very, very nice comments. And one of them is a question that we're going to ask, but we'll come to that in a minute. Before we do that, let's start on a question from Stu. He's rivaling you now, Daz.
I'm propping this thing up.
You are, mate.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But the difference is Stu
I can
asks,
retire now.
Stu puts sensible topics in.
Oh,
Darren asks, what would you do if your left arm's chopped off and your right leg in the bath or something like that? How would you wave to somebody? He'd have a stupid
There's
topic
nothing
like
wrong with that.
Yeah.
Would you rather not be able to poo or not be able to wee? That's a Daz level question.
Yeah.
All right, so this intellectual question from Stuart. He's saying, it's intellectual. It says, is the influence of a thumbnail or clickbait / shock value tactics playing too much of a role in channels' growth and visibility? So
sorry, right? I'm really sorry, right? You will need to repeat that, because I was thinking, would you rather be able to kick elbows or knees? And then I was thinking, you'd bought... I am so sorry. Please ask that question again. I went off in my own little world.
Sorry, I'll go again. So Stuart says, is the influence of elbows or knees... No, what Stuart said was, is the influence of thumbnail, clickbait, shock value tactics playing too key a role in channels' growth and visibility? So let's start with Stuart on that, and we might branch into buying subs, which was another topic that Stuart mentioned. So,
oh yeah,
do you want to start on that, mate?
Yeah, I can do. I'm pretty sporadic in sort of how much YouTube I watch. I sort of go through spells of either not watching it, or if I've got a lot of downtime, watching it quite a lot, which I guess probably a lot of people do as well. And one thing, I mean, it's probably nothing new, the idea of, you know, using such tactics as clickbait and, you know, divisive topics and that sort of thing to try and get views. But I just noticed, I mean, I'm not going to sort of name examples, but I've noticed not even necessarily in photography, in other genres as well, where all of a sudden someone will put a video out that, you know, has a, you know, particularly hot topic in it, or, you know, the thumbnail's very clickbaity or whatever. That video will take off, and then all of a sudden, you know, that channel will get floods of views across all the videos, and then, you know, the snowball effect sort of goes from there. And obviously I know that's nothing new in a sense, but I feel like every time I put on YouTube personally, that sort of cycle of just putting out clickbait, shock value stuff in order to try and get views seems to be more and more and more. And I don't know if I can only put that down to probably just that's the way the sort of platform itself is kind of set up these days. I don't blame creators for it. It's just a case of going along with what maybe the platform is, you know, demanding of them at the time. But it does certainly feel like, you know, the idea of just going out and creating something, and something just being unique, original, whatever you want to call it, and just doing something well doesn't really seem to, in my opinion anyway, seem to get a lot of traction these days. It seems almost just as important to put thought into the title and thumbnail as it is to the, you know, the video itself, which I guess for myself, coming into YouTube being relatively sort of, I mean, I'm two years in now, so I'm not new to it, but I haven't been doing it as long as you guys. But as someone who came sort of watching it from the outside before making the videos myself, it didn't feel quite as sort of clickbaity as it is now, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting topic anyway.
Well, I think that's probably one of the reasons, isn't it? Because we talked before about the saturation of the market when it comes to YouTube, certainly in landscape photography, and I know that we've got other genres as well involved, and the more competition, I guess, in the market, the more work that you've got to do and the more effort you've got to do to make your video stand out, if that's what you want to do to attract subs and likes and views and etc. But I think, and again, we've had this conversation before around the need to attract views when you are relying on the income of YouTube as a revenue stream, such as many of the big YouTubers are. Then the only way that they're going to get that view count up and get the revenue up is, unfortunately, to play that game. And it's as simple as that, isn't it? That's the way that YouTube wants you to work. It wants you to promote your videos in that way where you're going to encourage views. And it's at that point, I guess, you have to decide where your ethics lie, whether it's purely on money in terms of making sure that you're getting your income that you want or you need effectively from that channel to support you, or whether you want to sort of try and keep a little bit of integrity and play more of an honest card, knowing that your views aren't going to be as high. So it's very much down to your individual choice based on your circumstances, really. And some of the big guys out there are having to resort to those tactics purely to play the YouTube algorithm game to get the views, to get the revenue, as bad as it is.
Can I just add one more thing to that? What you're saying there about saturation, now I've always kind of thought that, but then I'm kind of changing my opinion on that a little bit, because I know there's a lot more landscape photographers on here now than there probably was 4 or 5 years ago. But when you actually look at the views of, you know, if you were to take, say, some of the, you know, bigger channels in landscape photography and how many views they're getting, I think the audience is there. It just looks to me anyway like it's sort of concentrated within about 15 to 20 creators, and then I don't think, from the outside looking in, like the platform's doing a good enough job of dispersing that to other people. Do you know what I mean? Because I get the saturation argument in that, there are a lot more people doing it. But I mean, I watch some videos where there's some people putting some really good stuff together and putting good quality videos out that I think, if those, some of a proportion of that audience that is all sort of concentrated in that sort of, maybe, I mean, I'm plucking a number out of my head here, say 15 to 20 creators. I can't for a second think that they wouldn't enjoy that content too, but they're clearly not getting to see it. And obviously, as I say, I don't put that down to necessarily, it's not the creator's fault. It's more, I think the platform's not doing a good enough job of dispersing the audience. Do you know what I mean? Anyway.
Sorry, I'll just answer that because then I'll let you guys put in. But in the saturation comment I was meaning wasn't so much around the amount of people on YouTube putting the content out. It's, I guess, the type of content and the quality of the content that's going out, because there's only so many times you can do a video about a certain topic and about a certain bit of gear and the rest of it, and therefore the more people trying to do that, the harder it is for them to sit on your video rather than somebody else's. And I think that's what it's become. Again, picking on landscape photography as a genre, there isn't many other unique videos out there that we could produce that's put something into YouTube that's not already been done. And I think that's why a clickbait title or something like that is used to try and attract somebody to something that the content isn't that unique, it's not even probably that enjoyable, but it's trying to attract the views in a saturated market.
I think that's the thing. I think personally it's a bit of a vicious cycle. So it's like basically YouTube promotes on SEO initially. So it promotes on keywords and thumbnails and and tags and capitalization, but then secondary to that, it then looks at how many people are watching that video and giving it a thumbs up in a small space of time. So if you've got a massive channel, more people are going to be thumbing up and watching your video and commenting on it, which then perpetuates the cycle of people getting to see it. And I think that's why people have this thing of trying to put in this clickbaity, shocking title, because they're hoping that they'll catch one of their videos, it will go viral, and then they can jump on that bandwagon of, sort of more people watch, therefore YouTube promotes it more, therefore more people watch, therefore YouTube promotes it more. And I mean, I look at it personally from my point of view. Well, everyone who watches probably knows how I feel about it, but I think that a vast majority of the people who are getting all the views aren't the ones who are taking all the great pictures. But it doesn't seem that great pictures matter.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter. No, it's just watchability, and it's just in some instances people knowing the right thing to say in the thumbnails and in the titles, and in others it's people doing the right thing. So I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but there are certain photographers out there who are very big, who have totally almost changed their persona in the last 6 months to be a lot more happy, jolly happy. I'm jolly happy. Look at me. This is great. Everything's great, because people watch happy people. They don't watch. Most people want to watch people go, oh my God, this is amazing. What an amazing place. Everything's amazing. I'm amazing. Wow, look at this. Oh my God. Whereas they don't really want to watch someone going, that's all right. I'm not having the best of days, but I'm trying my best. There's a niche audience for that, which I've found. But
I'm finding that
out. But in general, people want to watch super hyper positive people who are super hyper confident about their ability, even if they don't have any. They want to watch people who are really confident about what they do and will tell you what they do in a really smiley, happy way with a nice clicky baity thumbnail. But that's the fact of it, and that's what drives YouTube. So YouTube aren't going to be unhappy with that, and it's only us guys who probably, you guys who take very good pictures but get very little traction, who are probably turning around going, well, that's a bit shit. But they're really happy as they show in their videos.
Well, I was going to say, so I think the thing we have to remember as well is that in the scale of YouTube as a whole, photography, or particularly landscape photography, is such a tiny fraction of the overall content on YouTube. And so from YouTube's perspective, they're not paying any attention probably to landscape photography on YouTube at all, because it's such a tiny fraction of their traffic. So they have to think of ways of of designing their system and designing their algorithms to promote videos, and they will be designing algorithms that will work for all content on YouTube. And so a lot of that won't be applicable to photography because it's such a niche subject. And there will be people out there all the time who will want to watch 15-20 minute long videos of high quality photography and good content, but at the moment the algorithm won't be tailored to push those videos towards that audience necessarily, unless that audience goes out and actively looks for it, and it is there. So I think that it would probably be too much to expect for YouTube really to push those sorts of videos to a big audience at this time, because the audience for those videos is so niche. So people will exploit the algorithm that's designed to promote these popular videos, which will work by using clickbait and things like that. And if people want to exploit that, that's absolutely fine. If that sort of works for them, and their main goal is to drive more views to their YouTube channel, and that's the key, because I think a lot of the better channels just aren't interested in driving huge amounts of traffic to their videos. They just want to put out their content, and they've got their little audience, and it's fine. So I'm back to my rose-tinted spectacles that I had on last week, but I like to think that there's a niche audience that will hunt out those videos. At least that's what I'm pinning all my hopes on anyway. But I also think that at some point it's going to change, because when I first finished university first time round, I accidentally fell into a job which involved doing a bit of search engine optimization, and all of the knowledge which I have from that is completely out of date now because it changes. And back when I was first starting, it was all about put as many keywords as you can into people's blogs, which will direct them towards your website. And of course, that then started keyword farms, and then Google changed everything. So these things evolve, and we'll probably find, in 10 years' time, maybe it'll be far more tailored, and maybe the algorithms will change, and maybe clickbaity things will be targeted at a different audience. And for the sort of audience where, we are probably aiming for, it might be slightly better tailored, but who knows? To
be fair, Sammy, in 10 years' time, a video will be, "Hi guys, here's a picture. Bye." That'll be it.
That's what Instagram is.
It'll be boiled down to that. Yeah. Well, that's where they're going with shorts. What about you, Daz? What do you think? Do you have an opinion on this, or?
Not a strong one, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm playing like devil's advocate. I mean, I watched a video of this guy. This was a couple of years ago now, and he quite clearly put a lot of time into this video. It was a great video, like landscape photography, fantastic video, a lot of B-roll, but he shot himself from a long distance away. So the effort, you could tell the effort that he went into making this video, and he kind of got hardly any views. And so I can understand, because I've said it in the past, like, perhaps people that rely on YouTube for an income have to put up a clickbaity title, for want of a better word. But at the same time, if you've spent, I don't know, a whole day for argument's sake, kind of shooting that video, and you might have spent 2 days editing that video, then you kind of load it up to YouTube, and then you've got to come up with a title, and then you kind of sit on the fence and think, well, do I want to go like, a non-clickbait title, or do I really want to, after all this effort that I've put into it, do I want someone to watch it? And you've kind of got that dilemma a little bit.
It's kind of sad that you have to do that, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's kind of sad.
But if you don't, then people just don't watch it. It's a newspaper headline, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the platform. That's at the minute, like Sam says, I'm like him. I think it will evolve and change, and we might be already reaching saturation point of the clickbait type of genre, and it might go the other way. But I'm just thinking I've remembered the reason why I came up with this question was because with having that shop of mine in Keswick, I'm very fortunate in that I get to meet a lot of photographers in person, because it is quite a solitary sort of pursuit, landscape photography, isn't it? You kind of go out and do your thing, and you might see the odd person, and that's it. But I see a lot of photographers on a daily basis, and fortunately, since starting doing the YouTube videos, people who watch the videos come in and watch the channel, really enjoy your videos, whatever, which is lovely, of course. But the overriding sort of feedback I get, not just on my videos, but just in general, is that to a man, people hate the clickbait stuff. So it's kind of I guess, quite a small sample size. I just struggle to see where. I mean, there obviously is an audience for it because the views sort of bear that out. But it does make me think of like what the demographic is and how many of those people that make up them views are actually really invested in photography at all. Because the evidence I see from talking to people, is that they absolutely can't stand that type of stuff. So it's a bit of a funny one.
Mostly they're probably not invested in it, but that's the point. It's like the people you talk to who come in your gallery are people who have an interest in photography and art because they're coming in your gallery to view stuff. A lot of the people who watch, they will hate clickbait titles. We all hate clickbait titles,
I don't.
Well, okay, you don't hate clickbait titles, but the majority of people.
Go on.
The majority of people, I would say, hate clickbait titles, who are the type of people probably who would come into your gallery. But there's a whole other load of people out there who maybe aren't as invested, because there's a lot of people going back to the whole happy smiley thing. A lot of people watch these channels because they're entertained by the person who's making the videos, and so they're not.
Sorry, when I say we're talking about clickbait titles here, and when I say I don't mind kind of clickbait titles, if it's blatantly clickbait. I mean, I always bang on about boxing, but I have watched a boxing interview for like 10 minutes and I've clicked on it because of the title, and then on the 9th minute something is mentioned like that
for 10 seconds,
and I just think I've just watched all of this for that is blatant clickbait titles, and that is what I don't like, and I've actually unsubscribed from a few of them channels because of that clickbait title. But I'm thinking, when I was saying clickbait, I'm thinking more of someone trying to get some after putting all of that hard work into their video, coming up with a title that's catchy, that might not be totally kind of misleading, but it's just something to get people to watch.
That's a different
I'm
thing.
I'm sitting in that camp,
You see, for me, that's not clickbait though. For me,
that's a different thing.
Intelligent titling. It's the ones where you'll have I keep going back to this one. A tragic day in the lakes, a great loss, and his car's broken down. It's like that thing. Or there was one which was 3 key tips for taking photography photos in the Faroe Islands, and one of them's like putting one foot in front of the other to get to the places. It's that sort of ridiculous sort of it's that sort of ridiculous title. There was one that I watched not long ago which was a secret weapon in street photography, and you're like, what is it? It's my camera. My camera's the secret weapon. It's like, shut up. Honestly,
wasn't one of those pairs of glasses, was it, with the camera?
No, it wasn't one of those. No, that's not quite the secret weapon. I've still got those, but I guess I can't remember what I was going to say now. But I guess the thing is I guess you have to look at it and say, well, I mean, I got really fussed by the numbers a couple of years ago. I used to be really wanting to push and get as many numbers and as many things as I can, and now I just look at it and think, do you know what? I got such fantastic interaction with a small number of people on my channel that I don't care. Everyone's numbers are dwindling, by the way. I don't know whether it's a YouTube thing or whether it's just a lack of interest thing. But I look at my videos. I mean, this latest video, or the one before that, 600, 700 views. That's half what I used to get, I'd say. But the interaction with the people is still the same. I'm still getting the same amount of comments as I was ever getting, and the same, probably one video in 2 or 3, someone will comment and go, "This is brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I don't know why you're not getting more views." And for me, I look and go, "That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. If I'm only getting a few, it doesn't matter."
But
So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go and get a beer. But when we come back, let's talk about buying subs then.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll do that. Let Jamie just finish off what he was.
Yeah, I was going to say. So, but being honest, the view count isn't really. We don't bother about it unless you're at 40 or 50,000 views, when it will make a difference to your revenue you're going to make out of it. It doesn't really matter, does it? If we're honest, for any of us, it's more well, I know certainly for me, and I know for some of you, it's more that interaction that makes more value. I guess Stu's got a slightly different agenda because it's a bit of a shop window, a virtual shop window for people to come and visit him in the gallery, which sounds as if it's working. But apart from that, it doesn't matter to most people unless you are at that level of views that is actually going to make a difference.
I mean, I don't even know how would you buy subs? I mean, no one's ever approached me like in the form of an email or YouTube or anything like that about buying subs. So I don't know. Is it actually truly?
It's like Instagram, isn't it? It's the same process, I presume.
Right, but I've had things come through on Instagram.
I've had someone message me about my videos on, I think it was on Facebook, on my Facebook business page. We weren't talking about buying subs. They were talking about improving the SEO on one of my videos in order to get me more views, and me paying them a fee to do that. But there are certainly people about who will blatantly say, you pay this much money, we will give you this many views and this many subs. So it's not, and I get the feeling this guy was heading down that route. He was heading down the route of saying, if I'd have said, oh yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a tenner and you improve this video, there'd have been another message saying, oh, how would you like this many views, or how would you like this many subs? And there are people out there who will offer that service, and there are people out there who will take that offer, and there are people out there who I blatantly know have taken that offer.
But I can't see I can't see the point of it, because your views don't go up.
No, your views do go up in some instances,
views,
so that you can pay for views. So you can pay, so if someone says to you, right, I'll tell you what I'll do, I will give you I don't know, you pay me X amount of money and I will give you 5,000 subscribers and I will give you 50,000 views on your videos. Yeah, instantly, first off, you're making a bit of money, but then the more subscribers you get and the bigger your channel you get, we were just talking about it, the more you get that snowball effect of YouTube going, oh, someone's enjoying this, let's push it a bit more. And so then you can grow organically. It's like a head start in growing organically, I guess.
But I was going to just come in there because it sort of harps back to what I was saying earlier about how they changed the way the algorithms worked when people started link farms, and that's exactly what would happen if people start buying subscribers and buying views for their videos. You can guarantee that the big companies will be ahead of that, and they'll notice the artificial. So they'll notice that all of a sudden this channel's gone from 5,000 to 40,000. Subscribers, but none of those people are actually watching all 15 minutes of every video, and they'll change the algorithm and those channels will be blacklisted. So it's just not worth it.
It's not worth it anyway, is it really? I mean, what's the point of it? It doesn't make any sense to me unless you're trying to make money out of it. Yeah. But even then I can't see,
Yeah, but so you're coming at it from we're all, 5 pretty level-headed guys who, are just, I know I do it for a living, but we do it for the love of doing photography. But if there's anything social media shows every single day is that people have pretty fragile egos, and there's a lot of very insecure people out there, and you can forget the practicalities of earning money and all that sort of thing. It can literally be just in their head. The number means that much to them that they'll go to any means necessary to get to that point just to make themselves feel better. It's not something I can relate to at all, but people do it.
Well, I know that I've spoke about this, whether it was on the Pubcast or we was just having a chat, but my Instagram, which I've not posted for a while now, I've made that private because my followers was going up 50 a day and they was all bots.
Yeah,
and I've literally, so if anyone now, I do get, it's quite nice, I actually get requests now for people to follow me, and then I view their profile and then I'll just accept them straight away. But bots mean nothing, do they? Really, they're not worth having. That's why it was the opposite for me. It actually forced me into putting my account private because I was getting so many, and it was all false numbers.
You're talking about the fragility of people's egos, Stu. I actually had a conversation with someone like a couple of weeks ago, and over Messenger, and they said to me that one of their drivers was to get more views, more subs than me, and a few other people, and that was actually their reason almost for pushing themselves the way they did. And you're right, that's just quite a I mean, I looked at that. Basic human trait. I looked at that and thought it's quite sad. Really, it's quite sad that people would want to do that. I mean, I hadn't posted on Twitter for ages, and this week I've posted a couple of tweets, or tweeted a couple of times with some images on, and of course it's really gratifying to get likes on that and comments on that, the same way as it's really gratifying to get views and comments on your YouTube things. But I think you've got to have a level-headed approach to it, whereas it's not the end of the world, is it? You know, if you put out something you're proud of, whether that be an image or a video or whatever, and only a fraction of people watch it that watch other people, it's nothing to be upset about. It's just life. It's just how it is, for many reasons, you know.
Well, I guess it's
social
just...
sorry, go on, Sam.
Oh, no, go ahead, Darren. Yours is going to be far more interesting than mine.
Well, it's not actually. I was just thinking, talking of kind of social media and kind of actually getting onto like perhaps a bit more photography rather than kind of YouTube. What's the smallest pixel size of image that you would kind of display normally? Because I think, you know, when I'm doing wildlife, I've got to heavily crop. So at the moment, I mean, a couple of my pictures are no more than about 4.5 million pixels. Which is fine for, you know, a video, but, you know, if you work that out into a print size with 300 DPI, that's only about 7 inches.
So that's not that much, is
it? So what I'm saying is there a point where you just think, oh, that image, I mean, not so much you, Stu, or Jamie so much, because obviously you're primarily landscape and woodland, but for us three that dabble in wildlife, we have to heavily crop. Is there a certain size of image that you like to keep and don't go any lower than that crop?
Yeah, for me, when the bird starts to look like Wreck-It Ralph, I stop. or Manic Miner. When it looks like Manic Miner, do you remember Manic Miner? Yeah, if it looks like that, I go, that's enough now. That's too pixelated. But, yeah. I don't know, to be honest with you. I think if it gets to a point where you're looking at it normally and you can't zoom in and see some real good resolution sharpness, then I say that's enough. I don't know what specific size that is, but if you know, I took a photo when I went to Adventurous Fen and got some shots of the owl. There was one of it sat on a post, and that was probably I would dread to think how far I cropped in on that. I probably binned about 75-80% of the image to get that little shot of the owl, and I looked at it and went, no, because it looks all right there, but as soon as you zoom in to look at it, it becomes too obvious that it's really heavily cropped.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give a number on it, but just do it by eye, I guess.
Yeah, I'd probably never crop more than about a third of the image, but not based on anything.
I've cropped a lot more than a third.
Yeah, I'd go more than a third.
I might do now. I've got a high resolution image. I've just not managed to get any decent wildlife images since I got.
Unfortunately, the problem is with wildlife is that I can't shoot a pano. If I could shoot a pano and then crop into a tiny bit, like I do with landscape, then I'd be happy to do it. But yeah, I love a pano, but it doesn't work with wildlife. You see,
you need a 360 camera.
Yes, that's a good idea. If you could get one of those at 600 mil. Oh dear.
The buy and followers thing. Does anyone know how much these things cost? Because I have absolutely no idea. Numbers or anything.
I don't think it's hugely expensive. I wouldn't think it runs into hundreds of pounds. I don't know, but otherwise people wouldn't do it. But I can't. Like I said, I can't see. I can see the point of people doing it if all they're driven by. Because when we all start, let's be honest. I don't think any of us would say when we started we weren't desperate to get to 1,000 followers. Everybody went, oh, that's the benchmark. I need to get to 1,000. And then some people carry that on. They're just desperate to carry on.
I mean, I can understand why people do it. I think maybe it's their reasons for doing it might be slightly misguided, but I can understand why some people might want to do it. And yeah, actually, maybe a good example, slightly different audience, but I used to be in a band, and we had a very big following in Hawley, in Surrey, and that was about it. And occasionally, most of our gigs were in London, and we had a gig once at the Garage in Islington, and we knew it was a big gig, and it was gonna there's gonna be record label people there, so. But we didn't want to be playing to the 5 people that might turn up from London, so we got a coach and shipped all of our fan base up from Hawley up to London and took them back home again. And we packed out the Garage, absolutely rammed full of people. No record deal though. But yeah, I can completely understand why, for maybe that sort of cheap short-term gain on YouTube. It's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? Of if you might be really struggling with your channel. Might just want to give it that little bit of a boost, and so it might be a way of doing it. I don't think it would work though, and I think that it's ultimately going to just add to the disappointment, so I would advise against it, but I can understand why people might want to do it.
Do you know what I'll say with this, with the buying followers thing, and this applies to any social media, whether it's trying to get loads of followers on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, and I've seen this over the years with so many people that if your aim is just to grow an audience or just to get a following or whatever it is, and you don't have a love for landscape photography and a love for the landscape itself, ultimately you'll run out of road and end up quitting. And I've seen it with so many photographers that have gone down that road of just trying to sort of make a name for themselves and want to do everything other than just do the photography. And if you haven't got that at the core of what you're doing, then longevity wise, for me, I see so many people that just don't last. I'll be people who are buying followers and things like that. I'll be very surprised if they're still there doing it in 4 or 5 years' time, because it's not sustainable.
I would extend that to YouTube as well. If you're doing YouTube videos, you've got to enjoy the actual process of making the YouTube videos. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it, because it takes so long. It uses up your whole weekend, and it's got to be a hobby as well. You've got to enjoy it, and if you don't, then you'll quickly just give up.
And the other thing I would say as well, for a lot of people, I remember very early on when I first started really taking photography seriously, I used to post my images on Flickr, and there used to be this one guy on Flickr, can't remember his name, but it was Steve something, and I followed him, and every single image he took, he used to get, on Flickr, I don't know if you guys use it, but you get if you go over 100 likes, you get 99 plus on your likes. And he used to look, and every single image he took had 99 plus likes, and I used to think, this guy, he's one of the most amazing photographers. I mean, I liked his work as well, but he's one of the most amazing photographers. He gets 99 plus likes on every single image, and you judge that as as a level to go, he must be really good. But then you look at the number of followers he's got 100,000 people following him, and that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. It's like Twitter. It's like you see people on Twitter, they post an image, it gets 7,000 likes, but they've got 4 million followers. So they're going to get 7,000 likes. It doesn't mean their work is better than yours. And I think that's something people have to bear in mind. It isn't about how many followers people have got, how many likes people have got, how many people watch them on YouTube. It's about if you enjoy it or not, if you're happy with what you do.
We put far too much importance on likes and followers and shit like that. Listen, we've all just talked about it, well, you guys have, rather than me, for the last probably 20 minutes, half an hour. It's such a big topic that we all put a lot of investment in. Well, why? What's life about if that's what we're concerned about, is bloody likes and followers and stuff like that? we should be proud of what we do. We should put it out there, and if people like it, happy days. If they don't, fine. As long as you like it.
I think an interesting thought experiment is if you were to post two pictures, one of which you really liked and the other one you were kind of okay with, but you didn't love it, and the one you didn't love got 12,000 likes, and the one you really, really liked only got like 50. Would you like that photo any less as a result of that? Because I wouldn't.
I would question my view on it. I'll be honest. I would question whether I'm, and I think we're going to go on to this in another topic. But I would question whether my view is correct, because so many times I'll take 5 shots for a video, post those 5 shots up on Flickr or Instagram or wherever, and the ones I don't expect to do any good are always the ones that do well. So then I look and go, well, is my taste really bad, or is it just different from everyone else's, or am I doing some, have I got it wrong here? So yeah, I do sometimes. I'll hold my hands up. I do.
That's normal, though. That's normal.
Yeah. But talking about the simple things in life, like Jamie said, let's not focus on the big, heavy, weighty topics of photography and views and likes. Let's talk about the simple things that Jamie likes, like what song makes you happy. Let's move on to that, shall we?
This question wasn't directed at me. It was put to everybody. Why are you picking on me?
Because I know how much you hate it. But before we start, I think it's only fair that we go through the comments and play some of the songs that people who commented says makes them happy.
I've got one queued up that somebody put in there, and I've listened to it, and I really like it. So go ahead.
Can I ask? Is it
Yes, Youngest. Yeah, I looked it up on YouTube and I played it.
Myself.
And I really liked it.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's go through. How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 9, and we can all say if these songs also make us happy. How does that sound? This is the first one from Gary Stone, and what we'll do is we'll have a little play, and then we can all go around and decide if we agree that this is a happy tune or not. Right. So this is the first one.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright.
Okay, so what do you think to that one?
Definitely.
Top notch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd
Big
put
vote
that
for
one.
me. Yep.
Yeah, that is a happy tune, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I was giving some thought to this on the way home, because I've been out today, because I picked mine on the way home. I think there's a difference between being happy and being emotionally moved by a song. And I think some of these might be not necessarily be happy songs, more songs that make you emotional, give you an emotion somehow. But that one's definitely a happy song. So yeah, I think we all agree on that one, don't we? Mm-hmm. Right, okay, this one is from Dave Hanmer. Right, you ready?
And I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. It's my life, it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live when I'm alive.
That would make me want to jump off a cliff, let alone be bloody happy.
Yeah, it's not a happy song.
No,
Well,
when I put this into the group, what I meant was, as soon as you hear the opening line, you just feel good. You just know. I don't know. It just puts a smile on your face. Like the Bob Marley song earlier. What you've just said. That song there, I like that song, but I don't naturally smile when that comes on. I just think,
No.
oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. So that's more of an emotional song than a feel-good song.
I mean, I know it's a bit more cliche, but I'd probably put "Living on a Prayer" as being the classic,
Yeah.
make
Bon
everyone
Jovi
happy
song.
one. But I do like a bit of Bon Jovi. But yeah.
Sort yourself out, Dave. That's what we're saying. Aren't we?
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no. Sorry, Dave, but not good enough. Right, this one is from Sheila Foster Hancock. Okay, are you ready?
All of Kintyre,
Mull of Kintyre. So, Wings, I can see Jamie loves that already.
I wouldn't say it makes me happy. I enjoy the song. It's a nice song. Yeah.
It's quite relaxing.
Makes me
think-
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she said it's the when the bagpipes kick in.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
It's good. But then I'm not sure if that makes you happy or gives you like an emotional lift rather than making you happy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, again, I like the song, but it doesn't put a smile on my face when I hear it. You know.
Yeah.
And
This next one, I'm
nice
going to say, I was surprised, but this makes me very happy. I don't know what that makes me, but it does make me very happy.
Join the club.
When the rainy days are dying, gotta keep on trying. All the bees and birds are flying. Never let go, gotta hold on and non-stop till the break of dawn and keep moving, don't stop rocking. Get on up when you're down, baby. Take a good look around. I know it's not much, but it's okay. We'll keep on moving on anyway.
So that was "Keep On Moving" by Five. How did everyone feel about that? Did it make them
Yeah,
happy?
like
Made
that.
me
I think.
happy.
Yeah.
I think if I'm going to say no, but if I was really, really, really pissed, that would make me happy.
Would you get on the dance floor to that, Sam? If you were
Oh
drunk,
yeah. If I was
Yeah,
properly
you would,
drunk,
wouldn't you?
then I'd get onto the dance floor for anything if I was drunk.
that was from Stephen Darlington, by the way.
Yep. Well
This
done,
next
Steve.
one is from Stu Salisbury, and this makes him particularly happy. I've got to say, Jamie, I'm just going to play your little bit of video over that track because
I like
you
that
just
one.
look so happy.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
do we
vote
all
for
like that one? Is that
Yeah,
uplifting?
nice.
Dan?
I
Yeah,
love
that's
that one.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Best choice so far. Love
I
it.
think that one makes
No,
you
Three
really
Little
happy.
Birds, Bob Marley, by far. Well done, Gary Stone.
That makes you really happy at a specific time of the year, though. You couldn't play that in November.
No.
And go, oh, here comes the sun. You'd be like, oh, let me slip my wrists. But if you play it in sort of now, sort of, February, March time,
When it's pissing down.
yeah.
The trouble is,
No,
if you played it as the sun was coming up, the sun would have set by the time the song's finished. So
there's a whole generation of people as well who just think of Walls when that comes on, the ice cream. Because they used it in the advert, didn't they? I think it was the first Beatles song that they used in an advert, by the way. A little bit of trivia there, probably wrong, but pretty sure I'm right. Right, okay, so this is from Marty Lusink, okay, and I had never heard of this song.
Me neither.
And I had to when I was looking for it, it took a little while to find. I mean, it's on here, but probably because I couldn't spell it. But so this is his happy song.
Menschen, Junges, dies ist dein Planet. Hier ist dein Bestimmungsort, kleines Paket. Freundliches Bündel, willkommen herein. Möge das Leben hier gut zu dir sein.
That's Menschenjunges by Reinhard May. Did you like that one? Daz, you look a bit perplexed.
Well, I wasn't. Originally, I thought to myself, I can't understand the words to that. What
Just 'cause
is
it's
it?
in German.
But then I realised it was in German. But once the beat kicked in, I thought, no, it was nice. And I suppose if I could speak German, I'd quite like it. But
He's
yeah,
probably singing,
It's-
"Go and slit your wrists
no, it
and
sounded
jump
very
into
good.
the lake.
No, I'm happy
Wander
with that.
across the driving motorway. Hang yourself from the rafters." No, anyway.
I would admit, I listened to the whole track because I was interested when that person posted to see what it was. And once you listen to all of it, it's got a real good sort of chorusy rhythm
There you go.
piece to it that's quite catchy. And it's one of
Yeah.
those songs that you're invested in it and you have to listen to all of it once you go through it.
What's the guitar solo like? Is it?
I don't know, mate. It's just him chatting and Germanising stuff. It's good. I liked it. I'd definitely go for that one as a happy song. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you two, Sam and
I liked
Stuart?
it.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
great choice. Never heard of it before. Haven't heard it, but yeah, it was good.
Okay, this
Well
is
done.
one of two by Alan Thomas. I picked this one because I like it. Is that a happy song though? It's
No,
about heroin.
I
isn't
don't
it?
think so. It doesn't put a smile on our face, but I like the song, but it doesn't make me beam as soon as...
I like it, but only because I love the film Snatch.
Snatch.
And
Yeah.
it's one of the things I've said. So I'm probably smiling at the film rather than the song, but...
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's about heroin. By the way,
probably
just to
is,
let you know. Yeah. But, you know, if that makes you happy, which it might do for a little while. Not in the long run, though, people. Not in the long run. Yeah, so, okay, all right. And this is the last one. This one wasn't a comment, but Alan Coles messaged me with this one. So this is one of his happy songs.
Then I look at you, and the world's all right with me. Just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
What do we think to that? I think that's hit a note with Jamie again.
Yeah, gotta be.
It actually surprised me that Alan Coles picked such an upbeat song.
Yeah.
You know, it really did. So, yeah.
Well, it's a happy
I think it might
tune,
have been his
isn't it?
wife that kind of recommended that song to him, to be honest with you. I don't think Alan would have picked that song.
I know a joke about that.
What, Alan's wife?
Do you want to hear it? No.
Oh.
How do you make a duck into a soul singer? Put him in a microwave until it's Bill Withers.
I know that joke.
Tumbleweed. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I know. Bad joke. Sorry about that. Right. So okay.
Well, I thought that was really good, actually, from everybody. I was really impressed with that. So thank you for everyone that put comments in and suggestions in. But I do think now that we shouldn't go on for like 3 or 4 songs each, because I think this segment then could go on forever.
I was thinking that.
So I think
I'll be
In
honest
fact,
with
we
you.
should just call it there. And it was really good. You know, we closed the subject down nicely. We got viewers' comments and suggestions. Brilliant.
My view on it is, if we're not getting monetised, let's not get monetised big style. Let's get as many songs in as we can.
all right, let's do it then. Let's
All
go
right.
to Jamie.
Yeah, go on, Jamie. It's your turn now.
I've only got one song.
Well done, Stu.
Well, I did have one queued up. I had one queued up for last week, but you spoilt it because you guessed what it was.
What was it? Cotton Eye Joe?
It was Cotton Eye Joe. It was going to be Cotton
No,
Eye Joe.
it wasn't.
It was. It was.
Is it?
Listen. Okay, let's go back before I start sharing anything. When you put that into the group, you know what? You knew that immediately. For me, it was going to be a car crash. My knowledge of general music or modern music is pretty much zilch, to be fair. My knowledge goes back to when I was out on the dance floor in the early 80s listening to ska and all the stuff that I listened to, and that's the bit that I remember. So my happy songs have
Is
had
that
to
when
be
you first came across Cotton Eye Joe in the early 80s?
No, I know that wasn't, but that's an exception. I quite like
I don't
that
remember
song.
the selector
Makes me
version
happy.
of that.
Listen, so my selections have got to be what would get me onto the dance floor when I was back in the sort of, when I was 16, 17, something like that. So that's
I'm
where
like,
that's where I've come
please let it be the Birdie song.
from. So I've picked two songs, okay? And both of them were ones that as soon as I heard the intro to them, I'd be straight up there. So therefore, they make me happy. Yeah, that's my criteria. So this is the first one. It's upbeat, it's there, I'm straight out there, and I'm with my mates, and we're kitchen, and we're punching the air, and we're really going for it. This is proper, just let your hair down after 16 pints of bitter type of song. Brilliant. So that was my first one. The other one the other one
Oh God,
is
there's another.
yeah. There's one more, but this is the main one really. I guess this was the one this is one of the first singles, 45 singles that I ever bought actually. It's Tom Hark, the Piranhas. The Tom Hark, the Piranhas.
Of course it is. It's
Course
the one
it
I've
is.
never heard of. It's
Of course it is. Again, that was a song that I just jumped up and did my stuff to in when I was that age. So yeah, they're my songs, and I know, sorry to disappoint you, I'm not playing Cotton Eye Joe, but I would have done last week if you'd have queued up that section for last week. So I know all the people that were looking forward to Cotton Eye Joe.
I was one of them.
Just you then. Oh dear.
There you go.
Oh, I'll tell you what, let's go to Stuart since he's only got one. Go on, Stu, what you got?
Yeah, that's mine.
100%. Definitely.
Yeah, with me.
Totally with you.
Yeah,
Not maybe, definitely.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Why? So this would have been 95, 6? I want to say
95,
6.
the album, I think.
Yeah,
95, the album came out. Might have been single. Some might say it would be 95.
Yeah, I just remember. So back then, I used to play a lot of badminton, and back then, sort of 96, 97, 98, I was touring the country constantly, and I remember this album just absolutely just wearing it out, basically. I think it was probably the first proper sort of CD player I had as well. It was one of those sort of Walkman, Sony Walkman things or whatever, but a CD player. And just remember absolutely wearing it out listening to this album. So immediately when that comes on, that's my sort of happy song, I guess. I've probably got a few others, but this was the first one that sprung to mind anyway. So big Oasis fan. I couldn't stand Blur, so I know that was a divisive thing at the time. But,
Yep. 100% on your side, Stuart, with that one.
Good lad.
I love Oasis. I'm going to see Blur though in the summer. But I do love Oasis.
I see. I was torn once because I was at Glastonbury Festival when Blur were playing, and the Prodigy were on the other side, and I chose for Prodigy.
Oh, I'd have gone to the Prodigy all day long. I love the Prodigy.
So that was mine. But I eventually came round to Blur a little bit when I got older, but I couldn't see it at the time. I was totally Oasis. So, yeah. Right.
Great choice. What do you think to that one, Jamie?
I'd never heard of it.
Come on.
No,
Seriously?
until
Genuinely.
it was still playing. It was still playing in the background there while you were talking, and I heard the chorus and I recognised that bit. But the intro, I've obviously heard of Oasis, don't be dumb, but I've never heard. I hadn't heard of that song until I heard the chorus.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
You know when people say they don't remember the 60s? Is it like that?
You know word for word Cotton Eye Joe, but you've never heard of Some Might Say by Oasis. What? I mean, your credibility is down the pan, mate. It's gone.
It must have been a similar sort of time as well.
It was a similar time.
Yeah.
Mid-90s, yeah.
Did I ever have any credibility, Gary? Come on.
Not musically, no.
No, I've never admitted to being a music buff or expert. One little bit.
Worse. All right, let's go to Sam. What you got?
Okay. We'll see if this works. So just as a little bit of a clarify, most of the music I'm into tends to be very sort of sad, depressing, quite a lot of 80s goth as well, and 90s alternative. So, but that makes me happy. So what you were saying, Gary, and this is probably similar to that. A lot of people probably wouldn't consider this to be a happy song, but every time this song comes on, that's me.
You're happy?
Happy. So I'm a massive Smashing Pumpkins fan.
Okay.
And basically any of their songs makes me happy, even though they're probably mostly sad songs. And there is one of their songs which a lot of people associate as being a happy song, but it's actually about committing suicide. But it's
what's that? Today?
Today, yeah. But I've not chosen that song. But yeah,
good tune up.
So yeah, that's always makes me happy. The other one, though, which I would choose, which probably more people, which is kind of more of a slightly guilty pleasure, would be a good old bit of Fleetwood Mac. So those are the two things. But yeah, Smashing Pumpkins and also any kind of 80s goth would make me happy. Bit of Sisters of Mercy.
Sisters, I imagine you're incredibly pleased when you hear that. That's just uplifting, isn't it?
Love it.
Yeah. Go on then, Daz. You can go now, and then I'll finish this up.
Right. Okay. Let's see. So when I put this in, this was don't get me wrong. Like Oasis, I think they're great, but that wouldn't naturally put a smile on my face. And some of the songs are not necessarily the greatest songs ever, but it's just like when you hear that, when you're working away and something comes on the background, straight away it just kind of makes you kind of quite happy. It hasn't got to be the best song in the world, but something like this would make me happy. Come on, who's not smiling?
Yep. I'll buy that one.
Okay, right. Picture this, right? I'm working on my own. I might be fitting a kitchen, right? Nobody's in. It's just me, and that comes on the radio. Straight away, I'm strutting around the old kitchen doing a Mick Jagger impression.
Okay.
And then the client comes home, and then I'm, big lips, and I'm strutting. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. It's just Jumping Jack Flash was on the radio. Then you just caught me. Yeah. So
I'm going to go on the same theme as you. So imagine I'm in a car, driving along. This is mine. And if a song comes on, am I going to be singing it really loud?
Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine, I'll be here till the end of time. So you got to let me know, should I stay or should I go?
Yeah?
Yep.
You buying that
Yep.
one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
so,
that.
you know, makes you happy, makes me sing along. This is my second one. Now, this is more, I'm at a wedding, right? I'm at a wedding, this song comes on. I'm going to be I've had a few beers, I'm going to be dancing.
Why do you build me up, buttercup baby, just to let me down and mess me around? And then worst of all, you never thought, baby, when you say you will, but I love you still. I need you more than anyone, darling. You know that I have from the start. So build me up, buttercup, don't break my heart.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, can I just stop you, Gal, really quickly? Sorry.
Yeah.
That song is mine and my daughter's song.
Oh, is it? Oh,
right.
bless.
And my daughter's got two little tattoos, one on each ankle, and there's a star and the moon for Helen, and on her other ankle is a buttercup for me.
Oh, that's so cool. That's
very
that is
Because
so
of that
cool.
song.
Yeah. All right. So, obviously a good choice. And this is the last one. I was driving home, right, and I was thinking, oh yeah, it could be this one, or it could be this one, or it could be this one. But to be honest with you, this is the song that will always make me happy, right? And this is it. It will always make me happy. This song.
Slip inside the eye of your mind. Don't you know you might find a better place to play? You said that you've never been, but all the things that you've seen slowly fade away.
How can that song not make you?
You've got
happy?
to sing along to that.
Yeah,
haven't
it's
you?
quite
Exactly.
true.
You hear
Well,
that
you have
song. You hear that song anywhere, you're singing, and everyone's singing, and that's the thing I love about that song. Did you know that one, Jamie?
I did, and I would sing along to that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. That was good, but
Yeah, some good choices there.
yeah,
And
Thank
then
you.
mine.
from all of us. Yeah.
I tell you what we should do, because this week was so good, because I made that bit of a faux pas last week, and I actually announced what we were going to do, and people actually chipped in with their favourite songs, which I thought was great. They kind of interacted with us tonight. What we should do is perhaps ask the people at home that are watching, and us as well, to choose one or two movie clips, like so movies that they really like, but there's perhaps a line from a movie or a scene from a movie that's really good, and perhaps next week we can perhaps show some of their clips and also us as well, what we like.
That is a brilliant idea, and
Thanks,
if
mate.
you've got any other copyrighted material that you'd like us to play, so we don't earn any money each week, we could have a "Why are we not going to earn any money this week?" section. That'd be really good. Yeah. So send us in. You know, if there's any logos you particularly like, or stand-up comedy. Yeah, basically anything that we shouldn't be broadcasting. If we want to monetize, just stick that in.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think we're going to have to stop.
Yeah.
I think we have to call it a day. We've done an hour and 45 minutes. We haven't even got to the one that was going to take a long time.
What was it?
So we'll save that. We'll save that for next week. Yeah.
We didn't get round last week to the seeing a composition topic either, did we? So
Oh, yeah.
Did we not talk about that?
no.
Can it be learned?
So that one will have to roll forward as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. We'll add that onto the list. I've got progressively redder. I don't know if you've noticed, as the night's gone on, the more beers I drink, I'm just getting progressively redder. Anyway, I think on that note, we'll call it a day. We really hope you've enjoyed the music tonight. I mean, it means that we don't get any money, which means that some of us won't be able to eat for a week. But such is life. But anyway, we do hope you've enjoyed it. We have, like I said, we've got so many. We've got some really like corking topics to talk about in future weeks. So you know, stick around to enjoy those. We've also got Jamie's Guess the Year quiz coming up, which you know I'm personally really looking forward to.
That'll be a card.
You know, do you recognise this bestseller from the year? No. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll all see you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
I don't understand where the time goes. We just